Good afternoon, everybody, and hope you're feeling enlivened after lunch. We're in that dead spot, aren't we, where lunch has started to settle and everybody's getting a little sleepy and things like that. So hopefully you will find this interesting. I'm Tim Rivett. I run an organisation called ARTIG on a day-to-day basis. ARTIG is a membership body for people that are interested in public transport technology. And we have members that are bus operators and suppliers and authorities. Quite a number of you in the room, your organisations are members. And we do everything from standards. So many of you traffic managers will have come across traffic light priority standards for buses. That's an ARTIG standard as an example. And we do a lot of work with Department of Transport and Welsh and Scottish governments, trying to make sure that everything is trying to be joined up and everybody works together and cooperates. But today I'm going to talk about open data for public transport. For those of you with long memories, you will remember back to Transport Direct at the beginning of the century. That was the first sort of national foray into public transport open data. It was the world first for a border-to-border public transport single data set, and it might well still be, we might still be the only country in the world with a border-to-border open data set. That was largely taken over by Travelline when that's demised, and so for scheduled data, so when is the bus planned to run? We've had open data now for nearly 20 years. A few years ago, back in 2017, Department of Transport had Bus Service Act, which covered all sorts of things that are now beginning to be implemented, one of which was Bus Service Open Data Programme. And this sets out to make openly available routes and timetables. So when is the bus planned to run? Location data, so where is the bus now in real time? And also the perennial question, how much is it going to cost me to get from A to B? The one question that actually up till now has been really difficult to answer. You guys are going to be more interested in routes and timetables and location data. You've had access to that through a number of different sources over the years, but this brings it all together into the one place, making your life a bit simpler, hopefully. And so it'd be really good to see some more use of that. Occupancy is a hot topic. You know, how many people are on my bus? Is it full? It's also a hot topic for public transport priority. You know, if a bus is full, do I give it more priority than if it's empty? People have been encouraged to supply that. It's not mandated in law like the other things, but there's still quite a lot of it around in the data if you're interested in that. Where are we at the moment with the programme? So for timetable data, from the beginning of this month, all the new data going in is in a consistent format. Before that, there were slight interpretations and things like that. But now it is all really consistent, high quality data going in. And so over the next few months, as timetables change, the older data will fall out. So that's really ready. DFT are going through a process of encouraging the very few operators that are not quite there for compliance. Location data, there's in excess of 20,000 vehicles providing data into BODs at the moment live. That is a very good proportion of the number of vehicles that are running around at any one point in time. And again, encouraging the last few to join. Fares, much earlier stage in the process. There's a lot of encouragement going on for people to to supply fares data, and they haven't got long now, before the end of the year, and they legally have to have it in there. So, not too long we'll be able to answer that question. That's where it is at the moment. What I want to talk to you today about is how you might be able to use that. One of the things that starts to become possible when you get decent quality data that's consistent in high volume is you can start to do some analysis on it. And one of the products that is available to operators and or those of you that are authorities is the Analyse Bus Open Data service. It's consuming the Bus Open data, and it can do things like on-time performance. So is the bus running to time? Which passengers want to know. I see a few heads no, it probably isn't. Well, why is that? And that's one of those questions that actually you might be able to do something about. And you might well actually be able to use the Analyse Bus Open data to help. So it can plot all of that data that it's getting in. Where is the bus supposed to be and where is it actually now? And turn it into some presentations that might help you understand what's going on your network. So, for example, what proportion of buses are on time or early or late at a particular stop? And you can dig down into this to find out actually how late are buses on average at that stop. Really quite useful stuff when you're then, actually between these two stops, the bus is losing 30 seconds. Why? It's a straight bit of road. Or in this example, around here, got a bit of a delay. Well, you're going past across a roundabout. Things are going to slow down. You can understand it. So you can start to see where actually there might be problems on the network. There might be things you might need to do physically, but also you might be able to play with traffic signals a bit more. And this is York, by the way, and outside of the rail station, buses on the park and ride going out, they tend to be really late by the time they get to the railway station. So what's going on there? Well, you're probably holding it up somewhere quite deliberately along with the rest of the traffic from what we were hearing earlier. But from a customer point of view, what might you be able to do with that? Well, many of you haven't actually had access to this sort of data up till now. If you've had a real-time system that the bus operators have been using reliably and things like that, you might have, but this is available to every authority in the country. And so hopefully it's a bit of a game changer. That helps with you looking at things in the past, what's gone on. Actually, a lot of what you might want to do is the here and now, provide priority for public transport. Not that many months ago, earlier this year, the government issued the country's first bus strategy, Bus Back Better. Every other mode has had a strategy, but buses do now. And there's an awful lot in there about the needs to provide public transport priority. And so if you need levers to help justify investment and effort, there's plenty of things to hang your hook on. And if you haven't been talking to your public transport colleagues about bus service improvement plans, if there's one takeaway, please go away, find out who they are and talk to them, because by the end of this month, they need to be submitting bus service improvement plans. And the expectation is that's going to say quite a lot about what you're doing about making sure buses run on time better. BODS does provide you with a consistent data source in a single place, so integration is easier. It's going to be cheaper for suppliers to use this data. You're not going to have to knock on the 70 doors that Travelline have had to do historically to compile the data. It's all in one place. So that's just going to make life easier. It can clearly be used for congestion management. We've heard a few people this morning talking about using BODS data. The interesting thing for me is what can you do more in specific traffic light priority. Bus operators in Oxfordshire, we've heard a lot about Oxfordshire recently, haven't we? They're really busy and really good at promoting what they're doing. Bus operators in Oxfordshire are working with a company called Urban Things, and they've been using this data to tweak their schedules and work out where the schedules are wrong, you know, making sure that they're allowing enough time for people to board. And they're now at the point where they know where the delays are on the road network. And so starting to talk about, actually, you know, we need some priority here. Conversations are going on with York and with Andy. We'll soon be looking out for pilot areas to do some work using BODS data to see what can be done with bus priority. And so if you're interested, then talk to me or Andy and we can start to get that project off the ground. One of the challenges at the moment is that if you're after traffic light priority, you really, really want to know where that bus is. And so it's how we get from the way that buses have traditionally reported their locations every 30 seconds or so to something a bit faster, so you know with a bit more certainty. Interestingly, we're going in the right direction. The average update cycle for BODS is now about 17 seconds, which actually is pretty good in the run up to signals to know where the vehicle is and be able to do something with it. But if we can push that just that little bit more, we're interested in pulling together a project to see what we can do with that. So please come and see us. Hopefully you've got a bit of understanding of what BODS is doing and some of the data in it now. If you want to find out more, then talk to me, talk to Jess, who's at the back from the BODS data team, and she'll quite happily try and help you as much as we can. Okay, thank you.
So we probably have time for, if there's one question. Are you taking your hand down, Paul? No, I'm sorry, he did beat you just by all right. 2 quick questions, go on.
So just a little bit contentious. I know it's taken a number of years to come to fruition. I think the amazing national information aspect. What I would say is, can we start and then over the next 5 years get to BODS when we get the national vehicle? I know that's a long way to go, but it starts to.
Wasn't that contentious? And we'll take the second one.
Great system. Ultimately, spending money on this, trying to get one seats on buses.
Yeah.
This will tell you how quickly to get to town. There are other systems out there which Paul talked about today, which will talk to you about how quickly a car gets to town. Demonstrate that the bus is quicker than the car. That is a really good way of getting one seats. So if any work going on, training.
There are certainly people that are starting to pull this data into systems that have got floating vehicle data to look at comparators, and there are some authorities that have used VMSs to display a bus journey time and a car journey time, and Ruth's going to say Oxfordshire is an example, which it is actually, but